These recipes are high protein, affordable, and really quick to make. I'm also going to show you how you can repurpose these recipes, as I just hate it when you have the same thing on repeat throughout the week. Even though I love cooking, I still want to go out, do things. I don't want to spend that much time in the kitchen, believe it or not. So let's get started. So I hate chopping up chicken. It's just like my pet peeve. So I'm literally just gonna flip it over. Perfect. Let's get the air fryer. I'm going to spray it with a little bit. You don't have to do this, of olive oil. If you don't have an air fryer, I highly recommend that you get one. I was against air fryers before I got it. I have just done a complete 180 on what I originally thought. They save on time, they cook your food without that much oil, so it's healthier for you. If you want to save time on meal prepping, you should get yourself an air fryer. So as that's cooking, we're going to do our broth, which only takes 20 minutes to do. It's going to grab a good old wok. I'm going to grate in some garlic. Saves having to chop it, you know? I hate chopping, in case you haven't noticed. It just takes up so much time. It's just annoying. So I'd like to grate stuff instead. Don't even need to peel it. I like to keep the skin on. Apparently it's meant to be better for you. And plus it's less work. So let's check on our chicken. This is only after 5 minutes. Our green curry paste. You can use red if you prefer, but I wanted to try out green this time round. Just to get the flavours out so it becomes really nice and aromatic. Cook it on medium to high heat. So that's proper crispy and that's done. What I like to do is just shred one and then cut the other into chunks. Oh, it's so nicely cooked. I love this air fryer. And naturally taste this as you go, because you don't want it to be like not to your liking. So always taste as you go. I would like it a little bit sweeter. So I'm going to add a dash of honey and I'm going to add some lime juice as well to give it that, you know. As a tip to save money, use frozen veggies. They keep for longer and they're far cheaper than getting fresh. Plus, they're still good for you. So I like to use frozen peas. Plus, it bulks out the broth too. Got some frozen peppers, onions. I'm gonna put that in as well. Oh, it's gone a bit chilly, so I put my coat on. Here are the noodles, all cooked and ready. I just put some hot water on the stove, dump my noodles in, and then drain the water away. I'm not actually going to put this into the broth. I'm going to store it separately. I find that when you put noodles straight into the broth and let it just sit there, it goes all mushy and it doesn't taste all that nice. I'm going to put these into little containers, so when I come to eat it, I can then combine or assemble everything together. So there is a method to the madness. My containers, because I'm meal prepping for 2 people, so myself and my boyfriend, I like to just apportion out what each of us are going to have to save on fighting on the sides, because we always like argue over, oh, you've got more than me. Da-da-da-da. So I just try and portion it out now so that it's fair, really. So what I've done is heat up the broth separately, added in the noodles, and then put a little garnish, a little bit of lime as a garnish. And now I'm going to put in the chicken, which I've got. I thought it looked a bit green, so I wanted to spruce it up a bit. So I just literally peeled 1 carrot and dumped it in, and just look at that. That looks spectacular. And I've got plenty in the fridge as well to repurpose into something new. Just reducing this down so I can have it as a curry instead. And I put a little bit of flour in it to make it thicker. Oh, this looks so good. Chop up your veggies and get it in your pan. To make this healthy and high protein, I would go for a turkey or lean beef option. I went for the turkey as it's actually quite cheap in Lidl at the moment, but if you don't like it, 5% beef mince, lean beefs are always a good shout. So get this into the pan once the onions and your carrots are nicely caramelized. Going on a high protein diet doesn't have to be expensive. Like honestly, you don't need to get protein powder. to hit your protein goals. You can just go for really smart alternatives. I am a strong believer in getting that protein into your diet naturally. I cannot be bothered to chop up garlic, so I'm just going to sprinkle in some garlic granules. All about making our lives easier here. And to make sure we're not wasting anything, put a bit of water in your can. You want every single ounce of sauce you use. Okay. Ooh. To make this dish nice and creamy while keeping it healthy, I like to add in milk. To prevent the milk from curdling, I mix it with a little bit of flour, which helps stabilise the sauce. I find using milk is much healthier than cream, and you still get the same results. Why is it when you cook, your entire kitchen becomes a bomb site? Snap that in. It's simmered nicely, so I'm going to add in the spinach. I say this is another chance to get in more protein, and also, why not? It's a really good way to bulk out your lasagna. This is coming to the end of its life. I can use it up in this dish, save on having to throw it away, and in turn save money. So win-win. Ricotta actually has quite a lot of protein in it, so I'm going to go with that. If you want to keep it extra healthy, I wouldn't go for the ricotta. I would go for cottage cheese instead. Grab a bowl, get a little bit of the ricotta, a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper, and just dollop it in, swirl it through, and it will taste amazing. And you've added in a little bit more protein to the dish as well. Let's marinate our chicken first, so the flavours can really just deepen and combine. So let's just get your chicken into the bowl. Get some curry paste and just douse the chicken in it. I love curry paste because it's so flavoursome and just makes your life easy. You don't need to bother with spices. You don't need to work hard to inject flavour into your dish. I like to add in some Greek yogurt. A, has protein in it, and B, it really tenderises the chicken, I find. Just grab my spoon. So good to just making that chicken like nice and tender. Always go for like these little pots too, because I find when you get like the bigger pots, they just go off when you open it and you don't use it all. Whereas with these little pots, it gives you just what you need. Just mix it all in, smother the chicken in this sauce, and then cover it with some cling film and get it back in the fridge. I always like to start with marinating my chicken when I meal prep because it just gives it time to really sit in those flavours. And as it's marinating, you can just get on with the other stuff that you need to prep. When it comes to curry, I say there are three really important components: the garlic, the ginger, and the onion. I like to call them the holy trinity. Cook it on medium to high heat until it's sizzling and you can smell that it's quite fragrant. Do you see how red this looks? We want to let this simmer and we want this to turn orange. So I'm going to get a lid and leave it on this heat, which I put it on I think I put it on 6. So leave it on the stove for say 10 minutes and I'll show you what it should look like after the 10 minutes. This is after 10 minutes. It's bright orange. I can smell it as well. It smells intensely like gingery. That's what you want your curry base to look like. Before adding the protein, I just thought to fill this up with a little bit of water, just so I can get the last like niggly bits of the coconut juice, because I think it'll go quite well in this curry. All lovely and marinated. My pan is so full. Did not anticipate this to be this full. So I'm just gonna let this simmer and cover it up with the lid so it retains all that lovely steam. The next day, I used up my leftovers in a wrap. This is the reason why I love wraps. They honestly make using up your leftovers so easy. You just stuff it, roll it, and air fry it for a bit, and you've got yourself a new meal. I'm even thinking that you can have this with a little bit of mango chutney, cucumbers, whatever you have in the fridge. To be honest, I was really hungry, so I couldn't really be bothered to chucking anything more than what I had. It's a good way to use up leftover bags of salad. Anything that you have languishing at the back of your fridge, which can go in here, is a plus.